So, as I mentioned, I'm going to freshen up this Redline McLaren, and I'm going to try and make it look as good as humanly possible without doing a restoration. As you can see, this is a very sound car, and honestly, it would be a shame to take it apart, so I won't. First off, it's my intention to keep the old tires on as long as possible to protect the hubs. The sound axles and hubs are crucial here, and I cannot risk damaging them. I'm going to address the tarnish on the base first. Now, it's not bad, but the base can be way better, so I'm going to turn to the Lime Away and water. I have just enough Lime Away mix to put the car in and have it cover the base. I don't want to just drop the whole car in, as I don't want the Lime Away to potentially damage other parts. That's also why I will keep the car in for a max of 2 minutes. I'm just trying to make the tarnish manageable. After soaking for a couple of minutes, I'll wash the car off, and then I can hit the base up with the brass bristle brush. And just like that, the base is beginning to shine. I really would like to keep the wheels on longer, but frankly they're hindering me in polishing up the base, so they've got to go. Now, you have a few options here. First, don't touch the wheels. Leave them on. Don't replace them. Don't do anything to them. 2, you can actually remove the wheels, bag and store them, and display the car with new wheels. Now, this is a great option for keeping it original because you still have the original wheels, but it can be risky. If while removing the old wheels you pull a hub off the axle while trying to get them off, it's game over. So you got to be really careful before making that choice. Finally, you can do what I'm going to do and cut off the old wheels and just put new ones on and don't worry about it. Now, if you're like me, you will have old ones laying around, and you can always put them back on the car to make it original if you want. But for me, I'm just going to replace the old wheels, so cut, cut, cut. Now, I could try to polish the base right now, but I think I'm going to hold off and do most of the polishing at the same time, So for now, I'm going to break out a bottle of Goo Gone, which will help remove this adhesive residue that's all over the car. So I'll thoroughly coat the casting with Goo Gone and let it soak in a bit before I start working at it with a Q-tip. Rub, spray, rinse, repeat, on and on and on. And for the stubborn spots, I'll break out a toothpick. Here's a little tip. Keep your eyes on your tools. Watch for signs of the paint coming off. You'll probably have to be aggressive with your car, but you sure don't want to start pulling the paint off. So watch for signs of that happening on the tools that you're using. To get a good idea of how things are going, wipe the car dry with a paper towel. The wet Goo Gone can make it difficult for you to judge your progress. As a last step at removing the gunk from the little nooks and crannies, I found a toothbrush can be really helpful, and it'll make it easier to get into all those tight little spaces. Now I'll just wash and dry the car, and then take a step back and figure out my next move. So now it's polishing time, and let me be honest here. This is a danger point. If you use too aggressive of a polish, you're going to burn your paint right off. The same goes for your technique. Again, if you're too aggressive, you're going to have issues. I'm going to start by polishing the casting with Tamiya Fine Polish and a Q-tip. The fine polish isn't super aggressive, and by working by hand, I have the most control. Remember my tip from earlier? Watch the Q-tip for the color lifting off. So, after a thorough once-over with the Tamiya, I'll buff the car out with a soft cloth, and then I can break out my tube of flits. I'm going to throw caution to the wind here. I'm going to use my rotary tool. I will buff the car out with the flits. The trick is going to be light-handed and to be super cautious around the edges, as the rotary tool will burn the paint right off those edges in a flash. After polishing, I will again buff the body out with my soft cloth, and I will repeat this process as needed until I'm happy with the final look. As long as I have the flits out, I can go ahead and focus on the windshield. My windshield is really already very nice, so I'll put a bit of flits on a Q-tip and I'll polish it up. If I need a bit more, I could brush on some gauzy, but honestly, I'm not going to need it here. No, I didn't forget the base. I'll rub some flits in with my finger, then I'll buff it out with the rotary tool, and finally a soft cloth. Now, the base doesn't have any paint on it, so you should all know what's coming next. Renaissance wax. Ren wax is a microcrystalline product used by museums to protect precious metals and gems and jewelry, and it's going to protect my base as well. I'll rub it in thoroughly with my finger, then buff it off with a soft cloth. I have now gloved up to protect all of my hard work. I'm going to give the casting a final buff job with my soft cloth. And where are the wheels, you might ask? No need to worry, I didn't forget. I'm going to pop on some new Redlines from Brightvision. Now the casting is supposed to have medium wheels on both the front and back, but you know I just can't resist adding my own personality here. So it's going to be chrome wheels with mediums in the front and large in the back. Boom! My no restoration is complete. And if I ever want to, I can simply pop on an original set of wheels and honestly say this is an original, unrestored Redline.